grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina. I was born in Baku, Azerbaijan in 1989. I came to the United States in 1993 with my mother and my grandmother. There was a lot of pressure to succeed because that was the main impetus and the driving force for the immigration. Probably since the age of 3, I had some glimmer of hope of becoming a doctor one day. It runs in my family. My mom, she practiced for 13 years in the Soviet Union. When we came to the States, she didn't have time to get recertified. The process would have been to take 3 rounds of licensing exams and then going through residency. She ended up going to PA school. Her success, I think, could be attributed to the opportunities that JELF gave her because they let her finance her education, not have to be as concerned about interest rates because she had to take care of her mom, she had to take care of me, put food on the plate, roof over our heads. When I got into college, she said, Sayyad, you know, not attending college isn't really gonna be an option for you. We came here in order for you to have this opportunity, for you to be able to pursue the dreams. You're gonna have to find a way to finance your own education. I first started with JELF for my undergraduate education. I started at Emory University in Atlanta, pursued a master's in public health at Dartmouth, started medical school at Georgetown University, and I'm set to graduate this coming May.
I was born in Westchester, New York. At 2½, I moved to South Florida. I started dancing when I was 3 years old at the Jewish Community Center. I always knew that I wanted to do performance. I auditioned for colleges my senior year, ended up at the University of the Arts in Philadelphia, and I studied musical theater, and now I'm currently getting my Master's of Art in Teaching for Theater Education at the University of South Carolina, and I'll be graduating in May. My family is very close. My parents always made sure that my brothers and I were on a college path. My mom works for Jewish Family Services. She said, hey, there's this really great interest-free loan. I really think this would be good for you. Now we're on our 6th and final year. It's been really helpful for my family.
I was born in Stone Mountain, which is about 25 minutes north of Atlanta. I was one of like 5 Jewish kids I knew growing up. So my parents divorced when I was like 6 or 7. My mom ended up going back to school to get a master's in education. My dad ended up moving overseas where he did work for post-disaster zones, and we would go long times without hearing from him and having him his financial support. That was, I guess, when the first time I realized, or I really had to think about money. When I was, working out all my college stuff, forms from Emory, like how much does your dad make? Like what's his home address, his tax information, and there was no way we couldn't get all the aid that we needed. My dad passed almost exactly 6 months ago. I guess you never really see yourself being someone who has a dead parent at 20, Without JELF, I don't know like where I would be. It helped me cover my first semester at Emory, and then, up until now, my senior year.
Whenever I stop and think about how fortunate I am to receive the JELF loan, I guess my appreciation increases every time because I realize how much of a lifesaver it is, at least to have all of the loans that I can use that don't go towards my tuition, but that go towards my life expenses, my expenses for travels for residency, board, study resources.
My financial situation right now, undergrad and grad school, money is coming from everywhere.
Outside of JELF, all of my loans up to this year were government loans.
The Emory grant.
Government funding.
Graduate Plus loans.
Zell Miller. Scholarship
through school.
The Pell Grant.
Many unsubsidized Stafford loans that were offered.
Subsidized, unsubsidized government loans.
Undergrad and grad school, I've worked a lot.
I worked at a restaurant, and then the year before that, I worked at the Barnes & Noble on campus.
I've been accruing interest on all of my graduate and medical school loans.
It's a lot to be like 21 and be like, wow, I'm $50,000 in debt.
Can't quote the exact figure, but it's probably $420,000. It's a lot. I like to think that I have the presence of thought to stop and count my blessings. When I got into medical school, I can't fully articulate how big of a moment it was for my family. I believe it was May 23rd. And the next day, it was just me, my mom, and my grandma. My mom looked at me across the table and she said, Sayyad, you realize this is the end of our immigration story. And now it's your job to go out and write the epilogue. It was amazing. I took out the same loans that she recommended to me, and she's now my co-signer. Just an odd sense of full circle.
When we get out of school and we are trying to make a living, but we're still living with all this debt that we have, that little bit of money JELF can give us helps us so much.
The sums I get they're not covering my entire tuition, but I don't need it to. It makes me able to attend, to actually let me be able to breathe.
Knowing that this is a Jewish-specific loan is really, it gives me a lot of pride.
I just look back and I see this tradition behind me. My family is really tight-knit, and it's kind of like revolves around our traditions and our community as Jews.
Knowing that there's this strong community of Jews coming together to support our education is really, it's great.
Repaying these loans and putting them into a revolving door that then will siphon them off to another kid, another student who might come from a family that isn't able to finance their education means a lot.
Once I get to that point where I can start giving back, there's nothing else I would give back to.
You know, no 18-year-old needs to be suffocating under the weight of their financial situation.
In our family, education is the most valued and prized possession that anyone can have. The one thing that can't be taken away from you. In order to get an education in this country, you have to pay for the money that you're paying to schools. And JELF is targeting that.
Interest-free loans are great. Every loan should be interest-free. That's my vote.